Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not already done so, kindly take your seats as the ceremony will begin in 5 minutes. This is also a reminder that everyone should be wearing a mask. Please be so kind as to place your phones in the off mode. Ushers are also available in the foyer to assist with any queries you may have. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the Chief of Defense Staff. Please be seated. At this time, we await the arrival of our chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of our chief guest, Professor Dale Weber. Please remain standing for the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, thanking you for your many blessings and your gracious favor towards us. We thank you for this day and for the attainment of this milestone in the lives of these men and women here present. We humbly ask for your blessings upon this ceremony and your guidance and protection in our lives. These mercies we ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Please be seated. Guest speaker, Professor Dale Weber, Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General R.R. Meade, Force Executive Officer, Commodore A.S. Wems Gorman, President of the Caribbean Military Academy, Brigadier R.N. Mason, Brigade Commanders, Senior Officers, Acting Commanding Officer, Directorate of Training and Doctrine, Lieutenant Commander J.I. Neal, other officers, Force Sergeant Major, Master Chief Petty Officer Class 1 A. Christie, Brigade Sergeant Majors, Regimental Sergeant Majors, other warrant officers, senior and junior non-commissioned officers, men and women of the JDF, specially invited guests, proud graduates of JNC Intake 2019-02, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Captain Bobrick Bailey, and I will be your Master of Ceremony for this occasion. I now invite Brigadier R.N. Mason to give the welcome and the opening remarks. Sir.
Professor Dale Weber, Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Rocky Meade, Force Executive Officer, Brigade Commanders, Senior Officers, other officers, Force Sergeant Major, Brigade Sergeant Majors, Regimental Sergeant Majors, service members, distinguished guests, families and friends online, good morning. It is fitting today to borrow the words of the late Nelson Mandela, who says, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. For to be free is not merely to cast one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." It is my pleasure to welcome you today, and I must acknowledge those online again, and this is to share with us at this special celebration for the 488 members of Intake 2019-02. In 2017, the government took a decision to include a third arm to the JDF's category of service. The initiative was primarily in support of the government's Learning, Earning, Giving Back and Savings program, as well as the National Military Engagement program, which both geared towards positively impacting young people within the populace by way of increased employment, employability, positive engagement, building positive attitudes, and thereby having a better citizenship and citizenry. And this is to engender a disinclination to engage young persons in illegal activities as we see the country face today. From this concept, the Jamaica National Service Corps was developed. The inaugural implementation of the program took effect in June 2017 and have since trained 9 intakes of young men and women from across the island. With this being the 7th group to have completed their engagement, this marks a total of 3,785 participants to have been engaged in the program. And notably, this includes some 612 females. The program is so designed to comprehensively integrate and sequentially facilitate education, training, experience, and self-development. At the end of the program, all participants would have had the opportunity to earn the Heart and STA Trust qualification of Security Service Corps Operations Level 2 and earns a certificate from the Caribbean Military Academy as an Infantier Class 4. You would have also developed improved mental and physical fitness and general life skills enhancement in order to be productive members of the Jamaican society. Over this journey, your lives would have been transformed in every way possible. You are completely different from the person that walked into Upper Camp a little over a year ago. And this is undoubtedly worthy of recognition at this time. Well done to you all. We live in a world today that innovates new methodology through technology, fueled by research. Our society is dogged by violence and is crying out for your leadership. Please execute on the fundamental principles of decency that is embedded in the core values of the Jamaica Defense Force, and I encourage you to live by them. As we gather to validate your accomplishments, I want to publicly congratulate the candidates and encourage you all to continue working hard and to choose education. I am indeed proud of you all. Sir, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and have a great rest of the program and a great rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I invite Lieutenant Shernet Jones to give the intake overview.
Guest speaker, Professor Dale Weber, Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General R.R. Meade, Force Executive Officer, Commodore A.S. Wems Gorman, President of the Caribbean Military Academy, Brigadier R.N. Mason, Brigade Commanders, Senior Officers, Acting Commanding Officer, Directorate of Training and Doctrine, Lieutenant Commander J.I. Neal, other officers, Force Sergeant Major, Master Chief Petty Officer Class 1, A. Christie, Brigade Sergeant Majors, Regimental Sergeant Majors, other warrant officers, senior and junior non-commissioned officers, men and women of the JDF, specially invited guests, proud guardians of JNSC Intake 2019-02, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Intake 2019-02 commenced their journey on Saturday the 13th and Sunday the 14th of July 2019. The intake comprised 590 recruits, of which 106 were females, and this was the third intake of over 500 to be trained in the JDF. They were taken to the Caribbean Infantry Training Center, Newcastle, and the Monarch Training Camp, where they completed 16 intense weeks of basic military training, which concluded on Saturday, the 2nd November 2019. The intake completed various phases over diverse dates, adding to their military experience and accomplishments. In addition to the core phases of training, members of the intake were exposed to other developmental training and mentorship which include community service, workforce entry training, core military training OJT, and mandatory basic fitness test BFST. Community service. All JNSC members are required to participate in a minimum of 30 hours of community service, as the program is geared towards participants giving back to the communities and, by extension, public and private sector organizations and groups. Members of Intake 2019-02 assisted the Coburn Garden Primary and Junior High School in solving a major plumbing issue, reconnecting water to the school after a disruption of their service due to road work in the area. They also participated in World Blood Donor Day and donated blood to assist in the COVID-19 blood drive. Workforce entry training. All participants are engaged in a formal training package in this regard, which is aimed at adequately preparing them for functionality in the changing work environment. The training package includes communication skills, behavioral management, critical thinking, core values, and financial management. Core military experience. As part of the on-the-job training program, OJT, members of the intake participated in a plethora of military duties to include ceremonial parade, state of emergencies, zones of special operations, and other internal security operations. Mandatory basic fitness test, BFST. All participants were expected to meet the basic fitness standards of the JDF. Throughout the 1 year of training, participants are engaged in a robust physical fitness curriculum, which adds to the health and wellness aspect of the program. Military swim test, MST. It is mandatory that all participants are expected to meet the requirement of the basic military swim test. Swimming is one of the life skills emphasized as part of the program. Notwithstanding the odds, and with delays in the commencement of some areas of the program due to COVID-19, the intake soldiered on. And today, 488 JNSC soldiers, which includes 71 females, have successfully completed the program as part of the intake and are participating in this end-of-program ceremony. The graduates here today represent 2019-02 JNSC soldiers who have endured the training and have thus far met the criteria for program completion. This ceremony represents a significant juncture for them as it signifies their strength, tenacity, mettle, and determination. Sirs, ladies and gentlemen, intake 2019-02.
Thank you, Lieutenant Jones. We will now have the intake reflection by Private Blake N.
Guest speaker, Professor Dale Weber, Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General R.R. Meade, Force Executive Officer, Commodore A.S. Wims Gorman, President of the Military Academy, Brigadier R.N. Mason, Brigade Commanders, Senior Team Commander, Directorate of Training and Doctrine, Lieutenant Commander J.I. Neal. Other officers, 4th Sergeant Major, Master Chief Petty Officer Class 1, A. Christie, Brigade Sergeant Majors, Regimental Sergeant Majors, other warrant officers, senior and junior non-commissioned officers, men and women of the JDF, specially invited guests, proud graduates of JNSC Intake 2019-02, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. This journey has ended, yet a new journey has begun. The Jamaica National Service Corps, abbreviated JNSC, has provided us with opportunities that were beyond our reach. Rescuing us from the unemployed population of our nation, and for that I must say, bravo Zulu, to the Jamaica Defense Force. On the 13th and 14th of July 2019, we were unknowingly entered the Manning and Newcastle training camp, respectively, to commence our training. The first week of that training was called Grace Week. We got familiar with our surroundings, engaging in conversations with various individuals, and enjoying leisure time. Life was good, but little did we know of what was to come. As the days passed, we were introduced to the initiation phase, popularly known as prom night. Momentarily, everything drastically changed, and our challenging yet rewarding journey began. As a recruit in the chilly times of Newcastle and Manning, we learned the basic of becoming a military being, where agility and adjustability were the order of the day. As the training progressed, we became physically strong, mentally prepared, and emotionally hardened because we were conditioned to believe in two simple words: teamwork and trust. I would like to take the opportunity to emphasize on the word trust, because trust is a bedrock of any well-structured organization. The Jamaica Defense Force core values: courage, commitment, honor, integrity, loyalty, and discipline, which are essential in maintaining military order. With these values, we have acquired knowledge, and knowledge encourages confidence. Confidence builds character, and that character speaks for the soldier. Our instructors made it their duty to ensure that we walk the straight and narrow path, constantly reminding us that we have nothing to worry about, as we had 3 meals a day, no bills to pay, warm sheets at night, and no mosquito bites. We were pushed beyond our limits, yet successfully completing tasks that we thought were impossible. Throughout that intense training, we made the best of it. After successfully completing 16 weeks of basic training, we were molded into beings that are known to the outside world as superhumans. And yes, we are. We had our passing out parade, and I must say, it was a memorable one. We then moved on to the final phase of our training, which include the infantry qualification course. And then the big moment, the moment we were all waiting for. On-the-job training, this was the real deal of soldiering, which we saw us being deployed right across the island, where states of emergencies were launched and helping with the COVID-19 pandemic. Our vocational training was a mixture of theory and practical. We fine-tuned our abilities of communicating effectively, develop our stress management and critical thinking skills. As a result, we sat the Security Service Corps Operation Level 2 examination, which will award us with an NVQJ certificate from the Hard Trust NTA. The certificate will demonstrate how well-trained and qualified we are. All these skills and certification were geared at enhancing our chances of becoming marketable, especially if we choose to seek employment outside of the JDF. Therefore, we are so grateful for such experiences. I must say thank you to our training staff who have done such an outstanding job, to our lifeguards who caused us to muster the courage to plunge into the stadium and Lathbury Barracks swimming pools that we dread so much, to our instructors who were there to guide us. At this time, I ask for a moment of silence to reflect on the life of one of our dear colleague and friend, Private Clayton L., who did not get the chance to be here with us. Please, a moment of silence. Thank you. She was a hardworking and very determined person, but if she's so remembered, she's not truly gone. Simply changed duties, assignments, and is now among our best. Dear graduates, we are a testament to the fact that the JNSC program can achieve and do great things for the youths in our society. We have been changed from normal citizens to more rounded and contributing individuals. We now have the opportunity to influence others so we can all positively make an impact on Jamaica, the land we love. Once again, thanks to all who believed in us, continued to encourage us when we felt like giving up. We are truly appreciative of the opportunity to serve our country. We, the serving members of Jamaica Defense Force, pledge to firstly defend and to maintain the trust and confidence of our citizens without compromise. In the words of Christy Hannah, if I've learned anything in this long life of mine, it is this: in love we find out who we want to be, in war we find out who we are. Intake 2019-02, we have yet again accomplished another milestone that at first seems to be perpetual. Together, we all will ask our officer in command, Sir Captain Bailey, to lead us in our war cry. I thank you.
Thank you, Blake, for that memorable reflection. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is my distinct privilege to introduce our guest speaker. Our keynote speaker, Professor Dale Weber, was appointed Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Mona campus at the University of the West Indies, UWI, on August 1, 2018. Having served as Pro-Vice Chancellor for Graduate Studies and Research between August 1, 2015 and July 31, 2018. Professor Weber has had a distinguished career in coastal ecology and environmental management, as well as a strong and consistent record of teaching, graduate supervision, administration, and research excellence, which spans 30 years of service with the UWI. He joined the UWI in 1989 as Warden of Taylor Hall of Residence at the Mona campus. In 1991, he moved on to become lecturer in the Department of Life Sciences and was promoted in 2003 to senior lecturer and then to the rank of professor in 2010. Between 2003 and 2007, Professor Weber served as head of Department Life Sciences. His passion for enhancing the lives of students was a driving force behind his appointment as Dean Undergraduate Matters in 1997 and Associate Dean Graduate Matters in 2008. He served as Assistant Director for the Center for Marine Sciences at Mona between 1992 and 2001, and returned as Director from 2005 to 2015. He then held the Grace Kennedy's James Moss Solomon Sr. Chair in Environmental Management from 2010 to 2015 as Director. In 2015, Professor Weber was appointed Pro Vice Chancellor for Graduate Studies. The merger of both Graduate Studies and research portfolios in 2016 expanded his scope of responsibilities and established his role as Pro Vice Chancellor, Graduate Studies and Research. In the words of his colleague at the Schools of Graduate Studies, the imagery of a whirlwind that pulls everything in its path, not as a destructive but as a transformational force, describes the impact and fervor of Dale Weber. As Pro Vice Chancellor, Graduate Studies and Research, Professor Weber achieved several notable accomplishments, including an upgrade of the campus coordinator to Director of Graduate Studies and Research, an initiative started by his predecessor. The launch of the UWI's Scholar UWI's version of Google Scholar. The revitalization of several committees, including the UWI Research Ethics Committee, the Intellectual Property and Commercialization Committee, and the UWI Research Advisory Committee. The resurgence of research clusters with alignment to regional's national development goals, and the tightening and creation of regulations and administrative policies to ensure a more efficient postgraduate student experience. Professor Weber also has an excellent record of public service, serving as Chairman, Environmental Foundation of Jamaica Board of Directors, convener of the Cape Environmental Sciences Panel for Caribbean Examination Council, Chairman of CL Environmental Company, and Chairman of Jamaica's Climate Change Advisory Board. At the national level, his effective engagement with the private and public sector is well known, particularly in the environmental private sector. In October 2018, Professor Weber was presented the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander by His Excellency, the Governor General of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Patrick Allen, in recognition of his outstanding contribution to environmental conservation. As an academic and a researcher, Professor Weber has produced 7 book chapters and 35 publications in peer-reviewed journals. He has presented his research findings at conferences locally, regionally, and internationally, and has written over 20 technical reports for governments of the Caribbean. His research has attracted approximately US $2.5 million in research grants over the past 20 years. He has supervised 21 MSc, 27 MPhil, and 15 PhD students to successful completion across a range of interests, from water quality and coastal ecology to ecosystem modeling and environmental management. Dale is married to UWI marine ecologist, Professor Mona Weber, and they have 2 daughters, Marissa and Dana, both at universities pursuing degrees in environmental engineering and marine biology, respectively. Sirs, ladies, and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Professor Dale Weber.
Thank you, Captain Bailey. Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General R.R. Meade, President of the Caribbean Military Academy, Brigadier Mason, Commodore Wins Gorman, who you will hear I have a connection with based on our paths that have crossed. Other members of the Jamaica Defense Force, specially invited guests, families, friends, I see some online, proud graduates of the JNSC Intake 2019-02, friends, colleagues, good morning. I'm pleased to be in attendance and very thrilled to have been asked to deliver the keynote address at this morning's certification ceremony for the JNSC Intake 2019-02. When I spoke to Lieutenant General Meade, he thanked me for accepting his invitation, but it is I who must thank him for making that invitation, since I have long wanted to make a connection stronger than just seeing you on television and watching you in parades. There's a lot that I would like to see and share between the University of the West Indies and the Jamaica Defense Force. Allow me to start with a hearty and well-deserved congratulations to you all. I invite family, friends, teachers, students, trainers, administrators, as well as your colleagues, to give yourselves a round of applause for having achieved what you have so far. I congratulate you because you have gone a far way in a journey that will take you many other places. The decision to enlist, that must have been difficult for some, but easy for others. But it is a decision that you took. Whether it was taken for you, with you, by you, or in spite of you, you are here, and all the better for it. The dedication to engage, because you could have just been another bystander and walked around. But as you listen to Private Blake, you realize that you did engage and you did take the best opportunities. The determination to complete, because I note from the numbers that not everyone completed, and I'm sure those who didn't wish they would have and may yet try and do so. But most of all, I admire, commend, and congratulate you on the discipline to transform, because I see before me a group of individuals who have been transformed, not just externally, but internally, and you will transform the places that you go. Yes, graduates, you have made it this far, and today is your day, of which you should be really proud. It's a special honor for me because as I look at what you have done in your program, it strikes a chord which is important not just to the country, but to the region and the world. And we will all be looking out for you as you make your mark. As you have assembled this morning, we are here to witness the next stage in your life. Education, thirst, hunger, exhaustion from what I've heard, and some sleepless nights must have been some of the things you have encountered. But by far, it is the education that makes the difference. But what exactly is education? It's defined as an act or a process of imparting or acquiring knowledge. It's developing powers of reasoning, the ability to judge, to discern. Others use merely intellectual values for education, but there's far more. Education is a process of facilitating a learning. It's the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. There's no doubt that education is that great separator which will make us move forward. It has changed the lives of many, and it will change yours. Education for upward mobility is therefore critical and pivotal. But there are three types of education. And thankfully, from what I've seen in the JNSC program, you have gotten all three. There is a formal education where there is didactic delivery, where you sit in a classroom and you are taught. You imbibe, you absorb, you memorize, and you take your path forward. That's important. That sets foundation, that sets standards. There's the informal education, which is often forgotten, but it's the real base of how you implement that which you've learned. That develops character, personality. The informal education includes how you look at your general attitudes, your customs, your practices, the things that become ingrained that you do instinctively. And then there is a non-formal education as the third type, which is gained through agencies where you learn things on the go. You learn things in a practical setting. You learn things in a club, in a society, in sports, or in the JDF. To be really educated, you must have all three. And I think by what I have seen and what I have heard, you have attained this. Education means overall development for you, your family, your country, your region, and your world. It creates responsible citizens, which is what you have become. So it's not just limited to what you've learned academically, it is how you put that forward. Now, as you've made this transition, I'm sure that there are times that you have come across hiccups. Some people call them failures. Failure is inevitable. In fact, if you think you will never fall down, you're a fool. But it is whether you decide to sit there and wallow in self-pity or get up, brush off, and move on. That'll make the difference. You have to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps sometimes. You have to become your own cheerleader. Take responsibility for all opportunities because you are in charge of your surroundings. You will make mistakes, but let each mistake count as a learning opportunity. Remind yourself that things will always get better as long as you apply yourself. If you have a plan, work with the plan. If the plan doesn't work, change the plan, but do not change your goal because you must have thought long and hard about what you want to do and how you want to get there. Envision your own success. Think of yourself how you will be when you get there. I doubt you could have thought of what you would have looked like today, but look at you, and you are here. Envision where you are now, and envision your next step. Take small steps and incrementally grow to what you want to be. We call that a snowball of success. There are many lessons that I know that you'll take away from your JNSC journey. And for so many of you, it'll be your individual journeys that will take you far. But what I can see, what I have read, and just listening so far, camaraderie seems to be one of the most important features. It's a critical part of organizations such as yours. It's a melting pot that you have now been put in, where people came from all religions, all parts of Jamaica, all walks of life, all classes. You're a diverse group. How you share created bonds. How you taught each other created friendships. You need to keep those friendships as you move forward. If you decide to continue your military career, Jamaica will be benefiting from what you have learned here. You will encounter civilians from all walks of life. Your interactions with your colleagues here already have set the stage as to what you will be. In fact, I was very pleased to read that you were involved in the special zones as well as the Zozos, and I realize now that I might have seen some of you. I kept driving up and saying, why do some of these persons look so young? But you are clearly at work learning on the job. You cannot avoid responsibility. Every decision you make carries consequences, whether good or bad. Therefore, you need to decide for every decision you take to take the responsibility for the action. The very best that you can be is what you ought to strive towards. Situations that may require courage, put you in danger, require split-second decisions, but you've been taught how to handle that. Make the best decision that you can while you are there. Later on, more information may tell you that it was not the best decision, but at the time, it was the best decision, as long as you're sure it was the best decision. Leadership is something else I realize you've been taught. And the direction in leadership is really what matters. Many persons believe that leadership means standing up in front and trying to pull people along with you. That is one form. But leadership is not always being in front. Leadership very often is being behind. Leadership is direction. So it's not so much the force that you push, it is the direction that you give. Force is but one mechanism in leadership. I think direction is far more important. Also from your journey, I think you have learned to take care of yourself. Because if you are not at your best, whether health-wise, mentally, physically, you will be of very little use to those around you. And this is about service. You cannot serve if you are not at your best. One of the most important skills that I see that you have learned is the soft skills. Because you have learned a lot of strength, a lot of power, a lot of force, but you've also learned how to deal with individuals, how to deal with those in pain, those in suffering, those who need help, those who are unwilling to ask for help. You have been taught to recognize this, to work with this, and to make it your own goal. Those soft skills will make a lot of difference in your life and the lives of others. So you're a graduate. You have decided that you would excel. Excelling means reaching for the highest. Excellence is achieved by habitually striving. Not one day, not 1 week, but habitually, continuously striving. And each goal you have achieved should set the foundation for you to reach another, and another, and another. If you stop, you are now defeated. Because remember, there are others who will be striving, and they will surpass you. There are others who are at your level, who are watching you, and whether you know it or not, you are a leader for others, and they are dependent on you. So when you climb a mountain, don't climb that mountain so the world can see you. Climb that mountain so you can see the rest of the world and make a difference. As I speak to you today, I want you to think large. I want you to think that you are at the beginning of multiple steps. You do not know where you will end up. The training you've had opens many doors. I'll give you my example. So I am from Mandeville, Manchester. Manchester is the only parish in Jamaica without a beach, unless you claim Alligator Pond. How can a little boy from Manchester end up being a marine biologist and there's no beach? You have to take one step and move to the other. Find opportunities that open and say, hey, I want to go there. I moved from being a marine biologist, which is where I met Wims Gorman, at Port Royal Marine Lab when the Coast Guard was there. And I decided I wanted to do more, not just in the marine environment. I took on the entire environment, mountains. In fact, the cockpit country discussion is all predicated on discussions and research that we've done at the UWI, which I was privileged to lead. So I didn't know I was going to go there, but the doors were open based on the training and your willingness to open your mind. My word to you is, you will never know where you're going to go, but be prepared to retool. What qualifications, credentials do I have as a little boy from Manchester who wanted to do marine biology eventually, who ended up in environment? I have retooled myself 6 times. I've headed 8 different departments. I had no idea I would become principal of the largest tertiary institution in the Caribbean. That wasn't my plan. But as I came through each exercise, I learned that I had been tooled, I had been trained, and I had a responsibility to step up and do what was right. I encourage you to do the same, because you now have that platform. You have taken the first step, and there are many steps for you to come. I note with pride that you're involved in coastal cleanups. I also note that you all learn to swim. Do you know how many Jamaicans can't swim? Especially fishermen. But we're not going there today. I would like you to think of yourself as a product of an institution that has a history, a legacy. The Academy is recently formed and is growing. And in fact, Lieutenant General, I would like to have more discussions about how the UWI, with access, alignment, and agility, which is our mantra, can embrace more of what happens at the Caribbean Military Academy, because it gives greater access. I would have loved to have got the opportunity to say something to you, the 500 odd of you, before you graduated. It may have influenced some more of your thoughts, some more of your decisions. I may yet try and get some of you to come into the UWI to get a degree and come back as an officer to serve in a various ways. That is something that we need to embrace going forward. But access is one thing. Alignment is important. It means we need to know what you're doing and you need to know what we're doing. So at the University of the West Indies, we've taken a decision to turn ourselves inside out. A university, kind of like the JDF, doesn't serve itself. It's here to serve the community. So we are here to serve you, and you are here for us. And then agility is something that the university is really not strong at. If you know the UWI, we take roughly 3 years to do anything. But we've learned that things have started to change fast. Do you know that revolutions come not when things are at their worst, but when things have started to change and are not changing fast enough? We are on the cusp of a revolution right now, and it is the youth who will be responsible for driving that revolution. There is a lot on your plate, a lot in your hands. You are the engines of change. Me? Well, I won't say anything about any other officer here, but we are here to direct the engines that you are. As you leave here as graduates today, I want you to remember a couple of things. Be honest and humble. Be true to yourself. Listen to that inner voice that tells you honesty, trustworthiness, so that you can always stay right. No matter what you're going to do, there's always a little voice. That last minute before you're going to do something wrong, there's always a little voice that says, you know you shouldn't do this, you know. You need to trust and listen to that voice. Whatever you call that voice, whether you call it God, whether you call it inner spirituality, you need to listen to that voice because you know it's right. For many of us, it's our grandmother. I can hear her still, Dale, don't do that. But it tells you where you should and should not go. So be honest and be humble. You will achieve a lot, but you do not want that to get to your head and change who you are. Remain humble so that you can always gain. Be unwavering and be relentless. Do not give up. Never give up. Never say never, because there's always another opportunity. You must take the glory when it comes, but you also need to continue moving forward. Be natural. Be who you are. You can't keep up a show forever. And being the best that you can be allows you, at 2 o'clock in the morning, when you get awakened, you are the same person as 10 o'clock in the morning when you have gone through half your day. So be yourself, be natural. Be persistent, be passionate, and be patient. You all have talent, some of which has come to the fore in this exercise. The last year have taught you more about yourself than you ever knew before, but there's still more to learn. As you unearth those talents, determine how you will put them to work, because those talents will determine your success and our country's success. Do not hide your talent, thinking that others will do it. Don't wait for somebody else. You are the person we've been waiting for. And as you leave today as a graduate of the JNSC, with your certificate in hand, remember the encounters that you've had. Remember the good times as well as the bad. Remember the experiences, because that is what will shape your future. Abide by the promises you have made to yourself and others. Do not compare yourself to others, because there will always be greater and lesser than yourself. Strive to become your best self. Moderation without mediocrity must be your key. There are a world of possibilities out there. You can determine what you will do. Whenever you choose and whatever you choose, I know that the training you've received here will focus and sharpen your minds to be the best that you can be. Never accept anything less from those around you or from yourself. I wish for you the very best. God bless you all, and continue being strong. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Weber. Certificates would normally be presented at this juncture. However, due to COVID-19 mitigating measures, this will be done at another time. Notwithstanding, several trainees have exemplified themselves throughout the period of training in the areas of the Jamaica Defense Force core values: courage, commitment, honor, integrity, loyalty, and discipline. Today, we acknowledge the following graduates who has demonstrated our core values. I now invite President of the Caribbean Military Academy, Brigadier Aaron Mason, to present these awards. Sir. Courage Award for demonstrating the capacity to meet adversity with fortitude, resilience, and determination. JNSC 33026, Private Jackson M. Commitment Award for exhibiting dedication and the pursuit of excellence in every endeavor of training. JNSC 32740, Private Brown A. Honor Award for exhibiting strength of character that enables the execution of duty from an appreciation of responsibility as a servant of our nation. JNSE 50981, Private Bonner S. Integrity Award for demonstrating adherence to the highest moral values and quality in carrying out all or supporting a task. JNSC 33056, Private Levy K. Loyalty Award for showing steadfast allegiance to the Constitution and unswerving devotion to duty. JNSC 50915, Private Sutherland N. Discipline Award for demonstrating a state of order and obedience and instilling a sense of confidence and responsibility, JNSC 32742, Private Gail N. Thank you, sir. During the course of the intake, unfortunately, we lost one of our soldiers, JNSC 50936, Private Clayton L. An award will be presented in her honor this morning. I now invite Executive Officer, Caribbean Military Academy, Lieutenant Colonel D. Smalling, to present the Clayton and the Officer Commanding Awards. Clayton's Award for exhibiting compassion, thoughtfulness, selflessness, tenacity, loyalty, and discipline. This award goes to JNSC 50930, Private Ald K. The Officer Commanding Award for exhibiting high standards above and beyond general effectiveness and is initiative-driven. This award goes to JNSC 32716, Private Howell L. Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I invite the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General R.R. Meade, to present the runner-up and honor graduate awards. The runner-up honor graduate is JNSE 32717, Private Burke K. Private Burke is from the parish of Clarendon. He attended the Claude Mackay High School. His philosophy is, "The Lord is my light and salvation. In him will I trust." And the honor graduate, ladies and gentlemen, of JNSC Intake 2019-02 is JNSC 50916, Private Blake N. Private Blake is from the parish of Manchester. She attended the Homewood Technical High School. Her philosophy is, whenever you find yourself doubting how far you can go, just remember how far you have come. No, hold it. Hold it high for them to see. Thank you, sir. At this time, sirs, ladies, and gentlemen, I present to you JNSC Intake 2019-02. Please be seated. This has indeed been an August event. I hope all who are tuning will agree with me that undoubtedly it is not only a day of celebration, but also a day of learning and inspiration. The message from our keynote speaker, Professor Dale Weber, was very inspiring, and I imagine will resonate in our minds as he sought to undergird the values that we hold so dearly. Specifically, the dedication to engage as service members and not be bystanders. The determination to complete an assigned task. Education makes a difference. Taking responsibilities for all endeavors. Selection and maintenance of goals. And exploiting opportunities. It was also very satisfying, sir, to hear you speak of UE wanting to establish stronger relationships with the Caribbean Military Academy. Sir, for this message of sobriety, we thank you, and we promise to apply and be guided accordingly. To the training and support staff of the Training and Development Company, this is a fabrication shop that will wrought the future of the JDF, and by extension, Jamaica, land we love. Your efforts will make a difference. As the Training and Development Company continues to produce well-trained soldiers, its efforts are made easier under the leadership of the Directorate of Training and Doctrine. As such, we thank our battalion for the continued support. The Training and Development Company also finds itself in a new direction, that is, evolving, empowering, and educating trainees. For this newfound guide and energy, we thank the Caribbean Military Academy. Thanks to the Heart Trust NTA for the partnership that contributed to the achievement of our objectives. No training institution is of any value without students, learners, trainees. To the now certified trainees, young soldiers, a special thanks to you for remaining steadfast and unerring standing so as to allow the chief guest and the primary, as were, the main party to depart. All are subsequently invited to a reception which will be held in classrooms 1, 3, and 5, just behind you on the corridor to the right. Thank you for joining us for this momentous occasion. Please stand for the saying of the National Pledge. Before God, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body, in the service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood and peace, to work diligently and greatly, to think generously and honestly, so that you may on their God, increase in me, Congratulations and well done. Intake 1902. Go forth and serve your nation with pride, deliverance, standards without compromise. Standards! Standards! Thank you.